Let's say it's 1967 and you're standing on a street corner in San Francisco with long hair, a peace sign dangling from your neck, and you might have dropped a little too much acid. Then you realize that various animals are emerging from the tie-dye t-shirt your girlfriend is wearing. Suddenly, and to your confusion, your vast confusion, you look up to see a funeral procession. A casket is being carried down the street and you're told it's a funeral for the hippie. And you realize, holy shit, man, I'm a hippie. And then you soil yourself. And I don't know why, but I have a sneaking suspicion a great many of my followers once fell into this category, though they probably don't remember. And while it's tempting to make fun of these societal outsiders, we actually owe them, the hippie that is, a dollop of thanks for a few things, like solar panels and personal computers. Let me finish. Trustworthy again, whether you like it or not, with another vital historical fact. And I suppose you could say the apex of the hippie movement was during the middle of 1967 with the Summer of Love. And there you can see Carl's father was a part of that movement. Well, there were as many as 100,000 people converging on San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury district to advocate for peace, to celebrate love, to rail against the establishment, to get high and stare at various sidewalk cracks. A great many of them only remember the sidewalk cracks. Not long after that, though, many of the hippies began to realize the movement was changing. It was becoming bastardized by commercialization. So they decided later in 1967 to throw a funeral for the hippie. They got a coffin, not sure from where, but then neither were they. They filled it with hippie memorabilia, hair, beads, flowers, etc., and carried it through the streets of Haight-Ashbury. Though the funeral was considered the official death of the hippie movement, it took many hippies a few extra years to realize it had ended. Hence, in 1969, 300 to 400,000 people who looked a lot like hippies showed up at Woodstock, New York, and camped out in their VW vans, where they celebrated and listened to some great music that they can't recall. But what do the hippies have to do with solar panels? Well, they so hated the system, the man, that many of them moved to communes where they lived off the grid. And in order to wash their clothes, which they did do on occasion, they used solar energy to heat the water, though they may have done it just to watch the super cool steam. And while some hippies remained committed to the lifestyle, many others assimilated into the mainstream culture they once despised. Like Steve Jobs, who decided at a certain point to take power away from the giant corporations and give it to the ordinary people. So he came up with the personal computer. So the next time you see a former hippie, tell them thanks, and they'll say, what?